What's up, everybody? 𝐃𝐑𝐄 with another episode of the Northeast Georgia Real Estate Podcast. I'm excited today. I have a fantastic guest, Kiarra Trammell with Encourage H.E.R Academy here in the Athens and Watkinsville area. You don't want to miss this. A fantastic nonprofit, community-involved woman that is doing amazing things in this area. So stay tuned and you'll learn all about it. Welcome, first-time guests and loyal listeners to the Northeast Georgia Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, 𝐃𝐑𝐄, and I'm here to guide you through the real estate landscape across our region. Whether you're a buyer, seller, investor, or just plain curious, this podcast is going to be your go-to source for local insights. We explore real estate trends, economic forecasts, and highlight local businesses. You can expect expert interviews and valuable discussions to help you make informed decisions in the Northeast Georgia property market. So sit back, relax, and let's enjoy this crazy journey into the real estate market together. All right, Ms. Kiarra, glad to have you.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So I know about you. Do me a favor and just give a little bit of background on who you are, what you do, and kind of how you kind of got into that.
Okay. I am Kiarra Trammell. I am the founder and program director of Encourage H.E.R Academy, which is a nonprofit organization that serves girls here in Athens and surrounding areas. We're a mentorship program, but I always like to emphasize we're more than a mentorship program. We are kind of a safe haven for these girls and their families. We provide a strong foundational resource for them to become, hopefully, independent, sustainable women in this world, community leaders. So through that, we do a lot of mentoring through personal development, career development, academic success, and a lot of things, all girl things.
That sounds exciting. So tell me, just in case anybody else kind of hears this and they're like, is there anything else that this is similar to already in the community? Like, how does this match up, like, say, the Boys and Girls Club?
I say that we are on the same spectrum as Girl Scouts. So think of Girl Scouts, but a little urban, a little more relaxed. So if you was thinking, like, how could you picture what it is that we do, we're on the same level, but a little bit more relaxed than the Girl Scouts.
Well, that's good stuff. So how did you wind up getting to where you are now with this vision and this nonprofit?
How long we got? Because it definitely wasn't something that I came straight out of the gate doing. It was something that I actually got called to do through doing a lot of different things through life, trying to figure out what my purpose was. I worked for corporate America. After leaving high school, went to college, did everything that I thought I was supposed to be doing according to what my family wanted me to do, but it wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do. So going through life, going through the struggles, letting life, of course, teaching me some things. It wasn't until COVID that kind of gave me that window of opportunity to really pursue what it was that I wanted to do. So a lot of people said COVID was a year that, everybody was wreaking havoc and didn't know what to do. COVID kind of gave me the opportunity to just pause with everything I had going on in life and focus on what is it that you really want to do. And so through that, I was able to create Encourage H.E.R, which was a virtual platform for the girls to kind of have that release space, because as adults, we knew what COVID was and wasn't, how it affected our homes, but we didn't pay attention to how it affected the kids. We saw that the world was shutting down, people had to, distance themselves, so the world you once knew kind of flipped upside down. So we didn't take into consideration how it affected our kids. And so through that, I was like, you know what? I wanted to create a space where kids felt seen, heard, valued, and know that their opinions do matter. At times as adults, we get caught up in the hustle and bustle of making sure everything is good from point A to B. That sometimes listen to your kids. Sometimes they have great insights to kind of calm us down. And so I was like, I wanted to create a space where we didn't just have it when we was in a pandemic, but it was for years to come.
And I want to unpack, because you said a lot that's great stuff. So COVID, like you had mentioned, like there's a lot of people that are like, oh, it's the worst time in the world, everything that's going on. But just like what you said, that gave you a huge opportunity of where like, man, I can jump into doing this and now I have the downtime. So I think it's always neat how one side of society can view like a moment so horribly, and then in the same moment, other people can be like, man, this is my opportunity to shine.
Absolutely.
So I think that's pretty cool, first off. And I don't think a lot of people really pay too much attention, like from the kids' perspective, where like if you remove them from the school setting, now like that's their whole social outreach, their whole everything that they're involved in. And so especially if, not saying that it's all the time, but sometimes there's trouble home situations, and so like when you're stuck in that environment all the time, I could see that being a huge benefit for something that you kind of brought to the market.
Absolutely, because we did take into consideration that, like you said, school was some of their safe havens. Like, this is the only place I know that I can go be a child, because I may be the older sibling. So when I get home, I have responsibilities of my younger siblings.
Yep.
For some kids, school was the only time they were fed. So think about if you was depending on going to school, at least getting a breakfast, snack, and a lunch. Now I'm at home where I already know food resources are limited. So what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to, again, create spaces where none of that matters. Like, none of that matters. Like, when you come to the clubhouse, that's what we call our business, the clubhouse. When you come to the clubhouse, you're that 12-year-old girl. It doesn't matter what the world says, what social media says. Be that 12-year-old girl. So if you just want to come eat blow pops and Skittles, girl, that's what we gonna do. That's what we gonna do at that moment. You know, just be that 12-year-old girl, and don't worry about all the roles and responsibilities that life try to put on you.
That's good, and I think that's important for not only parents but also for kids to have that outlook.
Yes,
because they always try to tell you don't grow up too fast, but sometimes you're forced to do so.
Absolutely, I wish I could go back.
So, how long have you been a part of the Athens community?
So I was born and raised in Athens.
Okay.
So I've been here all my life for 35 years. And so I've seen the different transitions that the city has taken from when I was growing up to even now. And so, like I said, I wanted to, even through my life transitions, I feel like I should have had to encourage her growing up, because some of the decisions I made could have been bypassed. Had I just had that little encouragement. Like I said, growing up, I kind of did the cookie cutter, you know, this is what I should do because this is what was passed down to me from my family. So it wasn't a lot of wiggle room to kind of think outside the box. But as an adult, I was like, well, this isn't really fulfilling a purpose within me. So how can I do something that's still helping the community, still pouring back into the community, but it's also purposeful to me?
That's fantastic. So I'm assuming it's been successful so far.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because I know when we first got linked up, you're like, man, I got a couple girls, we're needing like an office space, and I'd helped you out with that.
Yes.
But like, talk about where you're at now and maybe like what your vision is that you see over the next couple of years.
Okay. When we started in person, we had about 12 solid girls, about a good 12. So we was able to get in like little small rooms and do our workshops. There was no problem. But as the years have passed, so have the number of girls. So year to date, we have served almost 60 plus girls from opening our doors. And so just last year in March, we really stepped out on faith to get our own brick and mortar, which allowed us more space, more room, but also to provide that strong consistency with the girls, because previously we was renting spaces, using other people's buildings, and that was kind of like not inconsistent. That wasn't the picture I wanted to paint for them. I wanted them to have a place of their own where they knew, like, this is my space. This is where we can come, unpack, vent, and nothing will leave here. So finding our own brick and mortar was a step to greater things. So now we found our brick and mortar. Enrollment has doubled that. So now we're looking for an even bigger spot, because long term what we are trying to do is Encourage H.E.R will be an accredited K-8 school for girls.
That is awesome. I love the vision of that.
So yes.
Very cool. So what would you say, I know you kind of touched on this a little bit when I asked about kind of the Boys and Girls Club versus what you guys do, but what sets you apart from any other kind of similar organizations that are in the community right now?
It's the family feel. Like, it's not just mentorship. We are a family. Like, we just don't serve the girls. It's a whole round table from the moms to the dads. We try to make sure that the entire family structure is supported. So if the girls are learning financial literacy, well, guess what, mom and dad? Your you're about to learn financial literacy as well. Because we don't want just what we teach them to stop once they leave the clubhouse. We want the conversation to continue when they go home. So if a parent is looking at furthering their education, well, guess what, girls? We're going to go visit some schools so you can learn what, post-secondary education looks like, or what life looks like after high school. So we try to make sure that everybody in the family is involved. And it's crazy because our dads are very vocal. Our girl dads are like, hey, so you have these workshops for the girls and the moms, but what about us? So we've been trying to figure out how to incorporate our dads more. So this spring we'll probably do some type of grill off to see who's a grill master. Because they've been very, very vocal, and I think that because we are so family centered, and once you come to the clubhouse, you'll see what I mean. From the time you walk in, it feels like home. It feels like a place where, okay, this is a safe space. I know that I'm safe here. I know that the love and care and support, I'm going to receive it here. And like I said, it's not just for the girls, but we include everybody.
Man, I love that, especially the part about if the girls are learning something, the parents are going to be learning too. Because, I mean, really that's how you change kind of the whole dynamic of, like, if this wasn't taught in the home or in school, like, because I personally remember thinking back in high school, I'm so glad I learned about the Pythagorean theorem for Pythagorean theorem season, as opposed to learning taxes and how to balance a checkbook and all the things that, the life tools that we actually need. So that's always good to hear. So what would you say some of your biggest challenges have been since, like, maybe it's not even related to your nonprofit, but like how it got you to here, that has basically got you to here?
So the biggest challenge for us, believe it or not, has been, although we have mentors, we have a great set of mentors, it's kind of the consistency of the mentors. Because our mentors do spend a lot of time with the girls and their families, and so when I bring on mentors, I have to always tell them, it is a commitment. It is you stepping into somebody's life. It is you getting to know them. So think about how quickly a child becomes attached. Yep. So if you're there and they become attached to you and you start drifting away, that does all type of domino effect stuff for that child. And so for us, it's kind of finding a consistency of keeping our mentors, not keeping them, but kind of letting them understand like how much of a commitment it is, and having that talk with yourself as if you can fulfill this role or the capacity of it. And I always tell everybody before they do their onboarding, look at your current life, look at your current schedule, and see where EHA probably fits in. If you have some wiggle room, perfect, but don't try to, put too much on your plate where pretty much at the end of the day, if it becomes too full, we know we're going to fall off the plate. So make sure this is something that you can see at least 6 months to a year with having full commitment. Another struggle we probably had. We don't have too many struggles, to be honest, which is a great thing. I think that's like our top one, is just finding consistent mentors. But other than that, we've just been walking by faith. And honestly, a lot of people say that, but to be honest, this has been a true faith walk for me, because I just pray about it. I just pray about it and let God lead us on how He's supposed to lead us. And He's been like, girl, I got you. And honestly, He's been telling me I've been thinking too small. So
that's usually the case.
We're looking at the bigger picture.
Yep. No, that's good stuff. I love it. So as obviously things change, markets change, business changes, people change. So throughout you getting started to where you are now, with changes that you've had to adapt from, what has that adaptation looked like for you guys?
So with change, of course, we have to be realistic about stuff that we want versus what we can do in that moment. And then think about, okay, although this month looks good, how about a year from now? What if the climate changes? What if we go back into a pandemic? What are you going to do? So for me, I think setting up my yearly plans, I put in perspective the pros and the cons. And I always like, we're going to have more pros than cons, but in case we have those cons, we have a backup plan. So of course we have to be realistic to what it is we can afford, right? So for me, getting a commercial building means another set of bills outside of my home bills. Yep. So how are you prepared to pay the rent, keep the water going, internet, everything that comes with it. Just having a solid plan, and also budgeting helps too. Like, I'm not saying don't splurge, but make it make sense. Have a little cushion for yourself. Savings, again, is something we push at the clubhouse because you never know, those rainy day funds, you're gonna need them. And so being able to have those rainy day funds and understanding what it's for, because on the personal side of me, my rainy day funds be for like me to go shopping and stuff, stuff like that. But the business side, my rainy day funds is set up in case, say we had to, the pandemic happens, my bills still have to get paid. So we have these over here to make sure the bills are still paid.
That's all good stuff. I think that whole balance in the budget thing, that one's pretty important for both personal and business. So for any entrepreneur or business owner, or maybe even some just employees out there, how do you balance personally the constant grind of business life and personal life?
Okay, so back to COVID, y'all. You remember I said COVID helped me put Encourage H.E.R together, but also during COVID, I wrote my first book, Loving Me Is My Business, How Do You Balance Love, Family, and Entrepreneurship or Corporate America. So COVID just did its thing with me.
You can speak to this topic exactly.
I can. So how do I balance it all is basically, guys, you have to have a cutoff time. I don't care what nobody say. I'm a mother, 2 boys that are very active. So in the evenings, I'm always at somebody's football field, basketball court, band practice, chorus. I'm somewhere in the evenings. So I have to be able to have Kiarra time and then Kiarra the founder time, right? So I have to have a cutoff time. So whether that's me waking up at 4:30 in the morning to get Kiarra time together and stopping EHA, no calls after 5, that's what I have to do. Now, I didn't start like that. I used to be answering calls at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because I felt like I have to answer this call, I have to answer this call. And so with doing that, it did take away from me and my kids. I wasn't, you could catch me at a baseball game, right? I'm there, but I'm in my phone. Yep. So my kids started picking up with that. They was like, Mom, like, you be at the games, but you're not at the games. Like, put your phone down. And so now I have a calendar where I have like, okay, schedule this meeting to this time, but my cutoff time from anything EHA, unless it's emergency, is at 5 o'clock because I have to have that one-on-one time with my kids. And so that's something you have to kind of train yourself to do, because again, as adults, we're used to going back and forth. We're used to going back and forth. So it's something that's going to take time, but as long as you work on it, work through it, and kind of give yourself baby steps. Don't think you're just going to jump off the truck and be good. Like, that's not going to work. So put it like this. Say, okay, well, on Mondays, I want to have game night with the kids, so I'm not answering any phones. We're going to put all phones away, out of sight, and we're going to do game night between 6 to 8. Do that every Monday. Just make that your routine, because the more you do it and it becomes your routine, you won't even realize what you was doing beforehand. Yep. So give yourself those baby steps. Figure out what it is that you want to do so to make it easier, and then put those steps in place.
That's good stuff. I live and die by my calendar, like to the nth degree. So much so that, like, I view it like what you were talking about, how when you're at the game, but you're not being intentional with your time when you're with your kids. And so if you view an appointment with an important client as super important, like, are you on your phone while you're there? No.
Right.
And so I view the same kind of thing with your kids. Now, granted, it doesn't happen all the time because a lot of times I'm putting out fires too. But like between those hours of 6 to 8, like having dinner and when you're at the house, like just put the phone away, because I view like being with my kids or being with the family, like that's like I'm with a client. So I don't want to rob that time from them by being on my phone or being elsewhere and not being present.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's all good stuff. So for anybody else that's listening to this that's like an aspiring entrepreneur, like what advice would you potentially give to them if you were talking to the you that, just freshly had an idea to go out and start a new thing, and that new thing doesn't exist, and it's scary, and you're trying to take that jump and you're trying to build the plane on the way down while you're falling from the mountain? What does that look like?
I always, even like myself, always go to your why. When you are creating your business plan, your business model, why should be your first step. Like, why do you want to do this? Why is this something you want to introduce to the world? And so once you get a good foundational like answer to your why, that's what's going to keep you going. Because even when you introduce your business, I don't know about you, mine flopped the first year. I had to go back to the drawing board. When I first started, it was horrible because I just went out on a limb and I was like, yeah, you didn't think that through, Kiarra. But I knew my why. I knew, like, I had an idea of what I was doing and why I wanted to do it, but I had to just go back and tweak it so it made sense to the audience that I was trying to capture, right? So understand the audience. Everybody is not going to be your ideal client, and it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's not going to be the end of the year. Because I was trying to cater to everybody that said hello to me. I was like, you got a daughter? You got a daughter? You got you know? And they was like, hold on, lady, like, why? So you have to understand, like, once you get a good idea of who it is you're trying to, you know, pitch your niche to, or what is your business for, hone in on the actual person. Even if it's something that's already in the works, that's working, again, what is your why, right? So as me, nonprofit organization for girls, there are other organizations, plenty of them, national brands, you know, globally. But what makes EHA different is because Kiarra got her own sauce to throw in there that nobody else has, right? And so I have to be comfortable with what I'm bringing to the table. I know ain't nobody got it because it was given to me. Yep. So long as you have your why, you understand, like, what is the problem, the solution to the problem. Right, so if you're trying to solve a problem, make sure you have a good solution. I've come across a lot of business owners. They're like, hey, why do you want to start this business? Oh, because it's going to make me money. Well, you're going to be broke because you're not going to jump out the first, year or two making this amount of money that you probably got, your eyes on, but it's going to take work. And so I tell any aspiring entrepreneur, you have to have that self-talk with yourself as to what is it that I'm trying to do, who is the person I'm trying to reach, and what is my why. Because even on my darkest days, the days I don't want to get out of bed, the days I'm sick, the days the boy's sick, why are you doing this, Kiarra? Like, because you could easily go back to corporate,
just go punch a clock.
Don't have to worry about the headache, but it's not what I want to do. So my why is always what gives me that inspiration to keep moving.
Yeah, I like that. To your point of not being successful in the first year. So to give you a little stat that I like to remind my team about all the time, 87% of real estate agents fail within the first 5 years. And if you make it past the first year and you actually sell a property or you transact a property, you're doing pretty dang good. So it's always funny to me because you think, you have this idea, and if you implement action like right away, you're like, man, this is going to be awesome. And then reality hits you in the face, and you're like, well, why hasn't everybody bought whatever I'm selling?
Right.
And so now it's like, all right, I got to do something different because this isn't working. But to your point about your why has to be strong, like that will give you the resilience to no matter what adversity you have, that you're going to be like, okay, that's fine. I just found out that didn't work. Exactly. So now I'm going to go do this.
Exactly.
Like I think Thomas Edison found, he did 10,000 different variations for the incandescent light bulb. So he found 10,000 different ways that didn't work until and so I always ask myself, like, if you're having a challenge, have you honestly put in 10,000 reps, or have you only done it a couple times and now your ego's taken over and you're just like, oh, this is hard.
Exactly.
You got to keep pushing.
Exactly.
So no, I love that. That's good stuff. So as we wrap up with this, I usually like to say, or give you the opportunity, if there's anything that you're currently looking for, whether it's like your avatar of a person, like who your perfect clients are, like for your girls that are in your EHA, or maybe there's a parent out there that's watching this, it's like, hey, I think that my kid could probably benefit with this, or maybe there's a donor that might be like, hey, this is exactly what I've been looking for. Anything like that sparks your interest that you want to put out there for anybody to be aware of?
Yes, so we are always enrolling. We run run year round. We have our school mentorship program that runs through the school year, but then we have a leadership camp during the summer for girls in 6th through 8th grade. So we're always around the clock. So if you have any girls 6 to 17, you don't have to be in the Athens area. Like I said, we service girls all over the state of Georgia. Yeah, we would love to have you guys join us. Go to our website, 𝐿𝐴CHERacademy.com. Find us on social media, Facebook under Encourage H.E.R Academy, Instagram is 𝐻ER.Academy, and just go to the website, learn more about us. If you feel led to donate, you can donate through the website as well, but we welcome any and everybody.
Well, that's awesome. I've thoroughly enjoyed having you on here.
Thank you.
You're a wealth of information like always.
Thank you.
So I appreciate you guys for tuning in on another episode of the Northeast Georgia Real Estate Podcast. Make sure to give Encourage H.E.R Academy a follow. Go check out Miss Kiarra. She's doing amazing things here in the community, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Northeast Georgia Real Estate Podcast. Now, I need your help, guys. I am working towards an absolutely massive goal for next year of creating new opportunities that will allow me to not only serve my clients better, but help them achieve their commercial real estate goals as well. Key focus for 2025 is going to be for me to acquire 2 additional commercial properties, further expanding my investment portfolio and my impact in our community. This journey will allow me the freedom to spend more quality time with my family, which is the end goal. I'm sharing this in hopes of being able to connect with others who align with this vision. So if that's you, whether it's through partnerships, investing, networking, or new business opportunities, please let's connect and build something together. Thank you.